Hello. Can you hear me? Am I on? Yes. Great. Welcome. This is my first time to India, and as Ali said, the first time for LoRa Alliance to have a meeting in India. And I can't tell you, I am so thrilled to be here, and I'm so thrilled to bring this technology to India. And there's a few reasons why. One is the way that I believe LoRa technology can support the people of India, can help with the services from the government and making them more efficient, more effective, more affordable, to save our planet and the natural resources, particularly in India, being conservative with the various elements that the planet gives us. And overall, LoRaWAN technology, and again, particularly in India, will help overall improvement in both human and animal health, wellness, and safety for an overall quality of life. And so I am just thrilled to introduce our LoRaWAN technology to India. And you know, I just need to say this too. I am from the US, and I'm from Oregon, which is the Pacific Northwest. And the US has just under 330 million, the population is just under 330 million. And you know, when I look at that compared to India, with a population of 1.3 billion, that equates to about 4 times more the population in India than US, with about 1/3 less the land size. So if there's any place on Earth where I feel this technology can really benefit the people and the planet and the animals, is here in India. So I'm excited to move forward with that. Let's move on. So LoRaWAN, again, is a low-power wide area network, and we are expected to be, in the next few years, to be about just under just over 730 million connected devices. LoRaWAN is an open standard. We have a very great space in the low-power wide area network space, and we have been claimed as the de facto standard in that specific space. So we are very excited to see the growth of LoRaWAN. You know, I'll also say one other thing. If you look at all the LPWANs that are going to be deployed in the next so many years, if you take India with 1.3 billion in the population, and you add China with their 1.6 billion in population, it is predicted that 2 out of 3 LPWAN implementations will be in Asia Pacific. So this is the market, this is the place, and I'm excited to be a part of that. So where's LoRaWAN right now? LoRaWAN in the last year has grown over 60% in 1 year in terms of our network operators. We have over 120 network operators around the globe. And those are public network operators. That doesn't even talk about all the private operators and the private deployments, excuse me, within industry that we have deployed. We also are in over 140 countries. So while you hear about it's coming, you know, 5G or other technologies are coming, let me tell you, we're here. We're deployed, we're at mass scale, and we're driving forward. And the last few years has been tremendous growth. And the reason why we've had the growth is because of our membership. Like I talked about, we are an open ecosystem. We create a protocol, the LoRaWAN protocol. And that protocol is used and developed by thousands of companies around the globe, which makes this really important. And we know that in order to continue to drive our applications and our use cases forward, we have to have a standard. You cannot have a fragmented market. You cannot have siloed, deployed solutions and think that we can scale at mass and think that it will save money and help our economies. No, we need a standard. That standard, we'll talk about in a little bit, needs to be a certified standard. But it is this large and massive ecosystem that is making IoT possible. And why? One of the biggest barriers to the implementation of IoT is that it's complicated. It's very complicated. And that's why it's really taken the last few years to see it take off as aggressively as we have seen it. But here's what happens within the LoRa Alliance. And this is why, again, you'll see that those growth numbers were there. Our members partner, they collaborate, they share, and they figure out how to roll out this very complicated ecosystem. Again, everything from chip to device to gateway to security to application to cloud to analytics to integrators. I mean, it takes, to our network operators, it takes a village to implement IoT. And guess what? That village, this incredible village that we have, has come together and is simplifying it, and that's why we are at scale around the globe. It is absolutely this that's important. I also want to talk about the largest developer ecosystem. And LoRaWAN does have one of the largest developer ecosystems. And why is that important? It's important because there are so many use cases out there. It's unlimited. It's anything out there that is possible. And so our developer ecosystem is critical to continuing to drive all the new use cases that are important and imperative as we roll forward. In fact, the Things Conference is having a conference here in India tomorrow, so Friday and Saturday. There will be thousands, no, am I wrong? That's right, okay. I think it's Friday and Saturday of this week. It's not here in Delhi, but if you look at the Things Conference, and it's thousands of developers getting together and learning and sharing how to build LoRaWAN devices. So it's here, and especially in India. So I want to talk a little bit about the points of differentiation. You know, there are other technologies out there. They are not the de facto standard. They don't have the scale and mass that LoRaWAN has. And if you're looking at the space that LoRaWAN plays, which is really important to understand, I want to talk about for a minute what makes us different. And also, it's what makes us different is exactly how we're going to work with and expand and play with 5G as 5G rolls out. I want to take one note and talk about that, and then I'm going to talk about why we're different and what makes us important. So when you look at the rollout of 5G, and it's not really here yet, I mean, we are here and rolled out, but as it comes, we're so excited as an alliance to work with and be able to expand the use cases. So LoRaWAN, and again, we'll talk about this, you know, it's a long battery, long distance type of LPWAN ecosystem. We do small data rates, right, for things out there, which is about 75% of the market. 5G will be doing high data rate, low latency, videos, emergency services, connected car. Guess what? None of that is our space, and that's about 25% of the market. Our markets of things, the mass IoT things, is 75%. LoRaWAN was developed from the very beginning for mass IoT, which is what we're doing. And so together as we roll forward, we are so excited to expand our mass IoT use cases with 5G, those videos and that low latency, because we don't do that. So as we merge together in terms of implementations, we'll be able to cover the entire spectrum. You know, and as we move forward, also, it's all about collaboration, not just within the alliance, but it's collaboration outside of the alliance. The real path forward is LoRaWAN working with Wi-Fi, working with 5G, working with other standards, because not one standard is going to drive this, but it does need to be a standard. It must be a standard, because that's how we're going to get scale and mass and consistency. So I'm going to go over some of our benefits quickly, and this is, again, specific to LoRaWAN. So LoRaWAN can be deployed in either public or private networks. We have a lot of buildings that are deploying their own networks. They're managing them, or they're doing a CapEx model, and they're deploying them, and they're using someone else to manage them. Or it can be a public operator that manages, you know, the entire network. The flexibility is all up to the end user. And the main thing I need to say is, it is application driven, right? What are those needs of our customers? Second is firmware update over the air. This is really important. I spoke yesterday at the India Mobile Congress, and they were talking about, to the operators about, well, we have to be able to update all these devices, and I'm like, we got it. Guess what? Let me tell you what we're doing. So we have rolled out firmware update over the air, and when you have millions and billions of devices, and we will, it's unlimited about the amount of the market for sensoring and monitoring, giving us data to improve our world, you've got to be able to update those devices remotely, right? They're 10 plus years buried or in the market. So it is critical that we're able to update these devices over that 10-year lifespan. And LoRa Alliance has the standard and the protocol to be able to do that. Geolocation is another very important thing specific to LoRaWAN in that it is built into our devices. It's not an additional cost. So let me be clear. So our geolocation is a general location. It's if you need to know exactly where the penny is on the table, it's not going to be LoRaWAN or you'll put a GPS. But if you need a built-in, non-additional cost to find equipment in industrial IoT or asset tracking or herd tracking or animal tracking, it's very important. And asset tracking. Our geolocation is not an additional cost. It's built in. We also have bidirectional security. Security was a big topic yesterday at the conference. And the security was about, is it encrypted? Is it bidirectional? Let me tell you, LoRaWAN was built with the best security experts within our alliance. It is end-to-end encrypted. Our firmware update over the air is also a secure protocol. And so, of course, it's always changing. And of course, if there's some specific security and governmental that might mean more security, we've got members within our alliance that can add it on top. But our security was built, both software and hardware, into an encrypted security, which is very important. As I talked about, we have a 10+ year battery lifespan. So again, all of those use cases are out there and out there for years. And it's very important. We'll talk about certification too, that we know those devices are going to do what we expect them to do. We also have long-range coverage. This is specific to LoRaWAN. I mean, the distances depend on how they're implemented, but we're talking 10 miles. We also have satellites. We have a satellite that was launched, and it was hundreds of miles. So it really depends on the use case. But the whole thing with LoRaWAN is it is a long-range coverage. So that's very important. And another specific thing for LoRaWAN is that, and I find this incredible because it's so important in so many of our use cases, we can get signals under concrete, through steel, over water. If you've got agriculture and you want to know about your farming, you want to know about your soil, you want to produce better crops, LoRaWAN can get out there. You don't need the cellular coverage. So there are so many important pieces that are specific to LoRaWAN of why you would implement LoRaWAN in these types of applications. And I guess I talked about the deep penetration as well. So these are things that are only specific to the LoRaWAN technology. And I got to tell you, it is absolutely best of breed technology for low power wide area networking. That's why you're seeing us already in the market and scaling. That's why you're seeing us move past proof of concepts in the market, and we're showing ROI. We're showing deployments all over the world that, again, are way past proof of concept. We're not in the early adopter phase anymore. We are in the mass scale phase. So very exciting. So I'm just going to run through a few of these slides since we're talking about smart tech for a sustainable planet. And if you look at, these are just some of the areas. Again, it's pretty endless about what we can do. But it's really around, so for water conservation, water quality, water leakage to save money. How do we get water to areas that are critical, right? But we now want to make sure that the water quality is good. This is a key use case, particularly for India and particularly for our planet. Air quality, same thing again when we're looking about our planet and our population as well. We can measure air quality in different areas. We can measure air pollutants, for allergy and different things, stay indoors. We also have noise quality. We don't think about that often, but there's also noise pollution that we can monitor and use that information and know how to move forward. So smart agriculture and livestock, I love this space. For the agriculture, when we're looking at villages that are looking to really understand their soil and their water and how to get the best yield, LoRaWAN is there. And we're there because it's in areas where, again, cellular can't reach, but we can. When we're looking at livestock, tracking and monitoring the health of animals, monitoring where they're at. There's ones around, birth rate. There's ones around tracking. All of this is so important and easily done, very scalable and low cost. There's also a lot of animal tracking use cases around the water, dolphins being tracked or endangered species. And I know that Ali's got a great use case he's going to talk about. I won't even say what it is, but it's exciting, an animal tracking one. So utilities. Utilities is another big one. And when we're talking about utilities, we're talking about water, we're talking about electric, we're talking about gas, and smart heating. So this is talking about conservation for our natural resources is critical. And not only that, with LoRaWAN, let's say that there is a leakage, a gas leakage, which could cause some pretty horrific outcomes. We can monitor the leakage, and through our protocol, we can actually kick back and automatically turn off that one utility, that one meter. So it saves the lives. I mean, the benefits of what we do for, again, easy and relatively low-cost infrastructure is phenomenal. Industrial IoT. I love industrial IoT as well because it's asset tracking, it's preventative maintenance. So I don't know if a lot of people have thought about this, but with LoRaWAN sensors, we can identify what machines are about ready to go down. So what does that save? Oh my gosh, it saves downtime. You don't want your plant stopped because you've got to take time to replace and it was caught off guard. So preventative maintenance is a big one. Safety for workers. So we can tell, again, if say it's a mine, we can tell if there's earthquake coming. We can tell about the air quality. Bridges. I mean, it goes on in buildings. We can tell about the safety and the structural integrity of these types of buildings and really help improve how the industrial IoT and the safety moves forward. So I want to talk about smart city. So the smart city is kind of in one of our probably biggest areas for LoRaWAN that's moving forward. And what happens in smart cities is interesting. And we have smart cities rolled out all over the globe, India being one. And the smart cities, this is how it typically works. They put in our gateways for maybe monitoring one use case. And water tends to be the one that we've seen be the most. And we call that an anchor use case. So guess what? Once our network is installed, we have one anchor use case. Now you start adding in, at no additional infrastructure costs, governments, waste management, human resources, environmental monitoring, lighting, trash, parking. Some of those things helps with the environment. Some of those items drive revenue. Some of those items are more efficient with our resources. Smart city is such an incredible opportunity for all of us. And security, that's another thing. I was just thinking of India. Security is a big one too with the lighting. I was just hearing from someone the other day in India where they're doing the smart lighting to help with security and women walking the streets and not, being more protected. I want to thank India. I'm sure everyone probably knows, and I'm really thankful to see that they have a 150 city initiative of rolling out a smart city in villages and cities throughout India. And I understand, Ali will know more than me, but I understand that the Smart City Initiative 2.0 is looking to move forward with over 4,000 smart city initiatives to villages and cities throughout India. I think it's phenomenal, and what LoRaWAN can do at such a cost-effective rate, and then again, drive all these use cases to help animals and people and resources and finance is incredible. So to India, congratulations. I applaud the efforts of driving this forward. So last but not least is business transformations. And we have a lot of ROI, different businesses, different verticals we can show on this. But at the end of the day, by monitoring various business metrics, we are showing increased revenue for businesses, reduced costs. But at the end of the day, what is it all about? A better bottom line. Whether you're driving the revenue or reducing the cost, it's all about a better bottom line. And LoRaWAN has many use cases that are specific to showing the ROI in businesses and for governments as well. So we have, there you go, okay. So we have millions and millions of connected devices all around the world. And that's awesome. And the verticals that you're seeing, these are 6 verticals here, they're endless. They're endless. The verticals, it's not even about verticals, it's about everything. And so what happens when you have millions, soon to be billions, connected devices in the market? I'm going to tell you what you need to do next, because you need to make sure you have a standard, and you need to make sure that you have certification of those devices. So let me tell you, as CEO and Chairwoman of the LoRa Alliance, we really promote and support certified devices. And why is that important? It is important because you have billions of devices soon buried. You have billions of devices out there. You need to know two things as an end consumer. You need to know that those devices are going to work as anticipated. Those devices are going to work as you had hoped when you spent all the money and put them wherever they're going to be. And LoRaWAN certification has a conformance test tool to make sure that it was built to the specification and that it will work as it was supposed to. The other thing is interoperability, right? We all talk about interoperability, and we need to make sure that those devices get on the networks and they operate as anticipated on the networks, right? Because that's how we get our data back to visualize and make our changes. So certification and certified devices are critical. If you are a device manufacturer in this room, I am telling you it will save you time and money to put your devices through certification, and it will save your brand recognition as well, because the last thing you need is to have devices go sideways through the implementation and pull it up and start all over again. For the government agencies or people who are putting out tenders, I'm telling you, I highly recommend that in your tenders it says LoRaWAN certified devices to work in the regional parameters of India, because you want to make sure it's working here. And to do anything less does not make sense and doesn't allow scale to happen. You cannot have small proprietary implementations going on. You will not scale. You won't get the economy of having your infrastructure in place. So I'm telling you, those two things, a standard and certification, are critical on all sides. And Derek's going to talk about it, but if you're a LoRaWAN member, you get a pre-test tool that was very expensive for the Alliance to put out, and it's free to you to test your devices before certification if you are a LoRa Alliance member. It's a huge benefit. So to that, it's so important that we have LoRaWAN certification, and we believe in it. So we wanted to say, well, India, we need to make sure we've got test houses here in India. So I am thrilled to announce that we have contracted with 2 test houses to become LoRaWAN certified test houses, and one is DECRA and one is TUV Rhineland. So you can, yes, thank you. So you can get your devices certified here in India without shipping. They know your regional parameters. It's quick and it's cost effective. So I'm very excited to announce that, and Derek will be on later talking a little bit more about the certification. With that, I wanted to just say, just to give you some examples, that we do have massive deployments by thousands of companies. And again, the thousands of companies is critical because it gives you choice in the market. And so just to give you a few examples of the mass scale, so Birds and Viola out of France just launched over 3 million water meters. They're going to be connected. We also have American Tower from Brazil. They've only been on a year or so, and they have already launched 112 cities covering over 70 million lives in Brazil. And then I talked a little bit about the satellite. And so Fleet Space Technology is launching a LoRaWAN gateway and its satellite. And the minute they launched and announced the satellite, they had over 3 million device manufacturers signed up for the satellite. So let me just say, it is massive globally to scale. And not only that, we have unlimited applications from thousands of companies worldwide. I mean, some of them are big, and we talk about, again, the smart cities and utilities and agriculture and industrial. But let me tell you, we have connected gravestones. I mean, people were stealing gravestones. And we have connected manhole traps. At first I was thinking, what? But they were stealing the wire, the copper wire underneath. So the use cases are just endless in terms of what LoRaWAN can do. And not only that, LoRaWAN's been converting product marketing into service marketing. It's in turning many businesses from just delivering the product to delivering a service. And I have a lot of examples on those as well. So with that, I want to thank our today's sponsors. And Senra is our platinum sponsor. Simtech will be sponsoring the lunch today. You will enjoy it. And Tata Communications is our app sponsor. So if you haven't downloaded the app, You can go to the App Store and just look up LoRa Alliance, and you can get the LoRa app for today. Tells you what's going on and who's speaking and whatnot. So I think I want to, I have one more, and then I want to end. So the marketplace will be right here. These are our marketplace demos that you will be able to see live in action. You're going to see return on investment. You're going to see some exciting ways that LoRaWAN is being implemented, and it's right next door. So afterwards, we'll be going around and heading to the marketplace. So I want to leave you with this. LoRaWAN is one of the most transformative technologies of our time. It really is. The data that it can bring to us and change every aspect of our lives is huge. So if you're in this room and you're not in the LoRa Alliance and you're missing out on those connections and the networks and the partnerships and the information, you're missing out because this train's driving hard and it's driving fast. We're going to be working with many other types of technologies. So I encourage you to get on the train and become a LoRa Alliance member and meet with our other, all of our members within the ecosystem. Thank you.